Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to talk about having the natal north node in the sign of Sagittarius. So I have my north node in the 4th house, and that means that I have my Gemini south node in my 10th house. So what does north node mean? In astrology, the north node represents the direction we are heading to in this incarnation, if you believe in reincarnation. It represents the qualities that we need to develop in this lifetime. South node, on the other hand, represents the qualities that we have mastered throughout many incarnations. It comes easy to us. Those are our natural talents, and in this lifetime we are supposed to kind of like let go of them, like let go of all of those qualities and focus more on the north node qualities. Some astrologers tend to say like south node is something like we need to let go of completely, as if it's something bad, but I tend to disagree. We wouldn't be able to achieve our north node without the south node. Okay, and it acts like this I don't know, trampoline that allows us to jump towards our north node, so to speak. And the thing is, I have my north node in the 4th house, and the 4th house is the house of family. It's our emotional foundations. It's the house of our ancestors, and it's the house of like home, the place where you live at. So in this lifetime, I need to develop qualities where like I need to focus more on family rather than on career. I need to focus more on like emotional security, not just polish my public image. And so like my south node, as I said, is in my 10th house, and the 10th house is the house of career, social status, like our public image, as I mentioned. So and now Gemini, south node in Gemini means that I come from a family with very mercurial qualities. So what are the mercurial qualities? So Gemini people are good at communication, they're good at writing, good wit, teachers, merchant, I mean like salespeople. And so guess what? I come from a family full of teachers. My mom is a teacher, my grandmother is a teacher, my grandfather was a teacher, my aunt is a teacher, my uncles are teachers. So I grew up being surrounded by teachers. And my dad, he's not a teacher, but his job is also very Gemini. He's an air traffic controller, so he communicates with the airplanes. So that is very Gemini. At one point, my mom quit her teaching job because in my country, teachers are paid very badly, very low. And so she started doing business. She started selling clothes at a market, and then she opened her own shop to sell clothes, and that's very Gemini again. Merchants, as I mentioned earlier. I just recently realized that. I was like, wow. Anyway, I come from a very Gemini background, and so those Gemini qualities are like gave me this ability to be flexible. I learn quickly. I don't get stuck on just one thing. Like I don't have tunnel vision. I try to check like both sides. I try to learn as much as possible. I don't like I don't discriminate information, if that makes sense. I'm not like, oh, I don't need it. Like if it's something interesting, I'm going to be like curious about it. I'm going to try to learn about it as much as possible. And at school I did well. Like in my country, the schools were super easy. But anyway, I did well in school. Languages were my like strongest part. I was like always good at English, and I learned it as a foreign language. I also took French, Spanish. I was fluent. I'm fluent in Russian. So those are the Gemini qualities. And now I'm a teacher. Today I got my teaching license. Even though like when I was a kid, my relatives would be like, oh, are you going to be a teacher like your grandmother and your mother? I would be like, no, there are many other professions. But look at me now. I've been teaching for 5 years, and I just got my teaching license for this state, and it's a big milestone. Now what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the south node, as I said, is something that we need to leave behind, and but I don't think south node is something bad. Like those Gemini qualities, the teaching job is helping me to achieve my north node in Sagittarius. Yeah, so by teaching in another country, I will be able to afford a house in another country. Yeah, so that is north node in Sagittarius, and the north node in Sagittarius is telling me to travel as much as possible, to get as much education as possible. I just graduated from my master's program. I got my master's degree, so I'm working on my north node in Sagittarius. I've traveled as much as possible with my third world passport. Yeah, I need a visa for almost like every country in the world, but anyway, I still managed to travel to many countries. I've lived in like 3 different countries, in very different cultures. I've lived in Southeast Asia, in Eastern Europe, and now in the States. So I'm working on the north node. What else? So yeah, and also, by the way, I come from a country where our culture was basically like erased, and it was one of the Soviet countries, and so my family grew up in the Soviet Union, and they weren't allowed to have religion. So I grew up in a household that was not particularly religious. We've never done anything religious. I mean, my family does believe in God, but it's just we were never religious. And so the north node in Sagittarius is telling me to develop those qualities, because Sagittarius is associated with religion as well. Yeah, so I'm thinking of like getting baptized and to be a little bit more religious. Also, the 4th house is the house of ancestors. As I said, my culture was erased. I don't know much about my culture. Yeah, I don't know how my great grandparents lived. It's like very blurry. It's like dark forest for me, and like I'm their descendant, and it's bad not to know. And I didn't know anything about our history at school. Like I remember our teachers like murmuring something about like our history, but it wasn't interesting because we didn't have proper textbooks. But anyway, so when I was living in Istanbul, I tried to learn as much as possible, because like I come from one of the Turkic countries, and so it was really interesting. It was like almost eye-opening for me to learn about like my ancestry. Yeah, so I will continue learning about my ancestry. So that is the 4th house for me. So I'm going to become more religious. I'm going to buy a house, settle down in a foreign country. I will travel as much as possible. I will learn about my ancestry. I think I mentioned that first, but anyway. So yeah, this is my interpretation of my north node in Sagittarius in the 4th house. I hope you found this video useful. I mean, like informative. I will try to make videos for other nodes. Okay, it's just I wanted to start with the one that I have in my own birth chart. So if you like this video, please subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching.